there. Has the Conservative Party changed? How profound is that change? Has it become populist? Are these changes, if they are real, here to stay? Take your pick, Liam.
Well, I was very interested in that later phrase, as the Tory party made a permanent move. Conservative Party doesn't make permanent moves to any one point. The Conservative Party is constantly evolving, so it never stops in one particular place. That's why it's the most successful party in the Western world. It is a very complex Venn diagram, the Tory party. Tim touched on a number of those points. It's similarly the home for authoritarians, libertarians, economic liberals, social conservatives, social liberals, all in the same place. And that's because it has always been a pragmatic organization with shades of ideology from time to time. I've never really been a conservative. I've always been a free market liberal, but the Conservative Party was the closest place to be in the generation when I joined politics. And I think that looking at it with the light of Brexit, there are a couple of points I'd pick on with Tim. The idea that there was a conspiracy to disrespect the will of the people is not a theory. I mean, John Bercow and others in Parliament were trying to do that. They were trying to block Brexit itself. And whatever you thought about the debate, I think that to attempt a coup d'etat against the British people's specified electoral will is one of the most disgraceful things, certainly that I've ever seen in my political lifetime. So it's unsurprising that people were furious about that. But also, I think you have to grasp that Brexit meant very, very different things to different people in the Conservative Party. I was a constitutional leaver. For me, it was all about sovereignty. So for me, Brexit was successful at 1 second after we left the European Union. For other people, it was about economics or trade, which is a much more complex issue, and even more complex when you have to disentangle what happened in the pandemic. For others, it was about immigration. And so there were a whole range of other things going on there. And again, as Tim said, he didn't really mention the pandemic very much, but the pandemic upended everything. For the period that it was there. All our political norms went right out the window. All our parliamentary conventions and our traditions were largely, we had to adapt them to the situation. And then, of course, you had the rise of the populists. And, perhaps if I was saying, if I could find a thread that brought all of them together, it's that Boris Johnson was the third prime minister to be brought down by Boris Johnson in this various period. And the thing I would say that the Tory party is moving away from is this populist creation, which is really a set of initiatives, sometimes unrelated, sometimes contradictory, without there being a coherent narrative. And there's no doubt that under the Rishi Sunak administration, it is moving back towards a more fiscal conservatism, slightly more socially conservative. And I think you can see that evolution again happening today. And I think that the one thing that I would say is needed in this is that the Tory party needs to stop being what it has been in recent times about the what, and it needs to rediscover the why it believes in what it does, why we need to get inflation down, why we don't want universal welfare, and so on, setting out that. And I think that's the real challenge. And if I was to say in one sentence, what's the difference between that sort of populist agenda and a more traditional agenda, it's that the populist was about the what, the Thatcherite tradition has been much more about the why. And I think that why, the story, the narrative, is something that the Conservative Party needs in a hurry to rediscover.